Papa Bear!
He says it's.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 14.
Otherwise known as hell. Otherwise known as hell.
I'm never going to get this right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of BPM. God damn it. I fucking hate you guys so much, how much you fuck with me in my brain. Anyway, welcome to episode 14 of BPM, where boing, poof, meow comes to you with all the excitement that one can bring in the sound fractures of the world. I am Blaine, a.k.a. Papa Bear. To my left is Jan, the photographer.
Hi.
And to my right is Trevor, the musician.
Yo, bro, what's up, bro?
What's up, bro?
What's up, bro?
What's up, bro?
Bruv.
Anyway.
Bruh.
Man, are we doing this? For fuck's sake. Anyway, so today's episode is brought to you in sponsorship by Burlesque Brew Coffee, where...
I don't think they're sponsoring it when we're paying them.
I mean, like, you know
what? They fuel us with enough caffeine that I think it's fair that we at least give them a shout out.
I mean, that's
once.
fair.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
basically are the reason I'm upright right now.
Pretty much.
Same.
So as you can see, I don't have one. I am the sissy water la man.
Hey, you took out
but
a-
that's okay.
Shitty coffee.
You know what? Let's not bring that name onto this podcast.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't need everyone to know that I'm that much of a poser. Okay.
Fuck. I thought I was the one that looked like a poser today.
But anyway, thank you to Burlesque Brew and your coffee for your wonderful patronage to keeping these two motherfuckers awake. Now, moving forward, this episode is going to be one that's a little bit more serious, but we think we're going to still have some fun with it at the same time.
We
as
never
well,
have
as
fun.
we usually do. Stop it. Let me at least get through the fucking intro. Where we will be discussing pay to play. Yes, you've heard it, the dirtiest words of all time, pay to play, or as others like to call it, buying on to shows. Jan is going to have some interesting perspectives because he's going to be our devil's advocate in all of this. Since he is in marketing and things of that nature, he brings a completely different aspect to this whole conversation, which is
To be very clear, from the very get-go, I hate pay-to-play as a concept, but it's there.
Yeah.
And there's a reason it is.
Right. And we will dive into that. We will make sure that we cover all the facets of it. And then, you know, Trevor being a musician along with me as well, I'm sure we both have some cringe stories of things that have been told to us about this stuff. So, and as a promoter, I can also break down as to why I do the things I do as opposed to pay to play.
Kind of leads me into, when it comes to pay-to-play, Blaine, I think your perspective here makes the most sense. What is pay-to-play?
Pay to play is, in short, pretty much anything that causes you have to pay money to get yourself extra publication or notoriety on an event. So you are typically paying money to get yourself a spot or advertisement or etc. into the music industry. More or less buying tickets, having to work with venues that cause you to have to do a buyout rental at the same rates as other events, things of that kind of a nature. But more or less when a band has to put money up front or take the risk of having to pay money out of pocket by not meeting a certain quota of tickets.
Okay. And where do you see it the most?
Music venue events. We are the number one slammed for this thing. Now, most people would be like, okay, well, you have to pay tickets for sporting events and things of that nature. Yes, but those athletes and things of that nature are always going to be paid for their services through their contracts of their sponsorships or whatever team that they're a base of. Whereas in the music industry, we have gotten to a point where it's become the normalcy to say, hey, bands, screw you. You're going to do all the work. You're going to do all the advertising. You're going to do all the footwork and waste your spare time. So that way you can make pennies compared to what we're making.
Yeah. So, and I mean, and then just purely from basically, like, I think the message there is like, you know, if you're a smaller band, you're not worth playing just for playing. You're going to bring more to the table. Is that what it's effectively saying?
More or less what it's effectively doing is it is putting no risk to the venue whatsoever and putting all of the risk onto the artist. It is making sure that the venue, the promoters, etc., that are involved with pay-to-play processes are covered no matter what, and the band is the one taking the hit if anything was to happen. Because to a degree, I understand where the concept of pay-to-play came from.
Right.
places need to sell tickets. They need to know that they're going to get a certain amount of income. I mean, that's why every AMPA arena show sells tickets, is because they need a head count of how much money is going to come in. And it is not uncommon if an area does not sell enough tickets that they will just say, okay, fine, screw it, we're skipping this spot. We would rather not waste the time and money, and we'll pick up a different slot and do it somewhere else, or give the guys a day off. Do they want that? No. Every band on a tour wants to make money, including the big dogs. But it's one of those things where that number puts perspective on like what your expenses are going to be and what your losses are going to be. So I understand why the tickets are in play, but the pay-to-play method is one of those things where it's like, okay, well, now we're just taking all risk off our plate, and now you're the ones who have to deal with it.
So pretty much they're securing like, oh, I paid X amount of dollars for the venue. I paid X amount of dollars for the sound. I paid X amount of dollars for staffing, whatever.
Staffing, AC, everything in between.
Now I'm going to charge this band X amount of dollars, this band X amount of dollars, this band X amount of dollars, so that way I'm covered. And now it's just them who are worried about making the money back type of deal.
More or less. Their overhead's going to be covered no matter what. Now it's the band's problem to figure out if they're going to make money. Which is not fair, because you're asking talent to come and perform to make you money. The talent should be being compensated for that money.
Yeah.
So, and this is where I'm probably going to go ahead and divert a little bit from that mindset, because, well, what if, you're a starting promoter? Maybe you don't have the capital to take a risk on smaller bands.
Don't become a promoter.
I mean, that's fair, but without promoters who have that capital in smaller scenes, there might not be someone with that working capital who's willing to take on that job and to take on that risk.
No, I agree.
A pay-to-play show would give smaller bands a venue to play at and prove themselves.
No, I agree.
And you
with
don't
that too.
become proven talent that draws a crowd without playing a few shows.
No,
I
get that.
understand the investment part there.
So let me break it down in a perspective that I think I can jump on with that. When I first started doing Papa Bear and Associates, I was nobody. Nobody knew who I was. I was in a band, a couple of bands. I'd played shows and stuff. People knew me by that nature, but nobody knew me as the promoter. I was always one of those guys who could sell really good amounts of tickets. I was always one of those guys that could make shows happen at different venues and stuff like that. And really what it comes down to is that when I decided that I'm going to become a promoter, there was a basis on my brain already that it's like, fuck, how do I make sure these bands are going to get paid? And the first thing I had to make sure of was I need to not book shows that I can't physically cover myself if something goes wrong. So that meant that the first few shows might have been, okay, cool, we're only going to pay $50 a band, but they're going to be all locals. We'll kind of get some steam rolling a little bit, because if they're locals, you're not having to pay for the travel, the food expenses, all the crazy stuff that you have to pay for touring acts. Get yourself a couple of shows built up. You got a reputation now. Your locals know who you are. It'll set the precedence for, are you good to them or are you bad to them, which is going to make a huge difference in everything as well. But when you're starting off, I don't imagine most promoters are going out and being like, I'm going to go rent this venue hall and I'm going to do this. They're probably going to talk to either starting with house shows or places that are known for doing music and trying to talk to the venue to see if, hey, I will take on all capital responsibility if you just let us have the door. You give us the door, I will make sure the bands are paid, and we'll divvy it out. And then your first few shows, most of the locals will be cool about it and say, cool, we know we're not going to make an arm and a leg off this. There's no major touring band. What's the premise? Are you going to sell tickets? Are you going to do just door charge? Is it going to be a split? And it really just depends on how you feel at that point. Kind of get your feet in the water and try it out first a few times. And it's going to take a few times before you find a rhythm. Please understand that. But it's one of those things where you need to establish your name, like you said. You don't have a name established, so
but that's as a promoter.
But
I'm
that's
talking
what you
about
asked as a promoter.
No, I'm talking about for the band. If a band's trying to establish themselves, and let's say I'm just gonna let's say Cold Hearts is completely unknown, and you want to get your name out there, other than using social media and the likes. Your options are live shows, and if buying into a show like that is, a way for you to gain some notoriety, get your name out there, isn't that a good tool to have?
That's a hard one for me, because me being who I am and seeing the things that I've seen in the scene and how it works, I'm not going to take a pay-to-play show with, like, let's say what we were talking about, like ticket sales. I'm not going to take a pay-to-play show with, like, excuse me, I choked myself, but I'm not going to take a pay-to-play show with like you got to sell 75 tickets to even break even. Because where I'm from and the demographic that I usually work with, I know maybe 10 people who I could sell tickets to. I'm not going to ever sell that 75 to make my money back. So it depends. Is the show like a mega regional and I have to travel, like, let's say a 200-mile trip, then yeah, I'm definitely going to probably jump on that, because there's things now in the world like Eventbrite and shit like that where you can set up a custom IP to it. And if the person buys a ticket through the Cold Hearts Eventbrite, then it still counts as a ticket sale. I'm less apt to hop on a pay-to-play show where I know the demographic isn't going to be there, but it might pull a ton of people, but my ticket sales aren't there.
Right, but let's say, you know, I don't know, we'll take a band that you would love to, A Day to Remember's coming through.
Oh, yeah.
And you're able to get in front of you if you do the 75 ticket sales.
But I know that it's a day to remember. I know I'm going to get that 75 ticket sales because it's going to fucking sell out anyways. Like,
fair.
It depends on who the head. For me,
they're coming through on a Tuesday at 3 p.m.
We're jumping through into too many hoops real fast. So let's break down what you guys have said so far. One, you will take pay to play with the right opportunity.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That is a very important thing that we need to figure. We need to break that for just a second. And then part two of that is you playing with someone that you idolize and you have idolized for a long time.
Yeah.
That's a part two that we need to break down. Okay. The first thing is that as a starting band, you're early off in your career. You're like, Cold Hearts doesn't know anybody, say they don't have anything. As a young band, you should not be taking pay to play. You should be more willing to take a free gig.
Yeah.
Fair.
That is the way that you should be looking at it. The only time that it benefits you to look at pay to play is if you absolutely can break down the metrics and know that it's going to work in your benefit. Henceforth, A Day to Remember. If he could get himself in front of A Day to Remember, that show's going to sell out regardless.
Yeah.
The only thing he has to worry about at that point is, are the other bands going to sell way more tickets than him faster than he can push out the 75? That's where the problem comes in, is that he may know that that show's going to sell out and he can take those tickets, but if he can't personally get those 75 out, most of the metrics on those pay-to-plays are, if you don't hit the 75, you don't get any. So say he sells 73, he still gets zero profit from all of that. So he has to decide at that point, do I know for a fact I can sell the 75? I know the show's going to sell out, but can I sell the 75?
Fair.
That's the only way he makes a cut. And I have seen way too many. Even if you're 2 tickets shy, you do not get a penny of what is promised to you. And that is normal. That is normal in the pay-to-play atmosphere. Now, on that second hand, though, let's say it's okay if we don't hit the 75. We're going to pay for the 2 tickets difference, so that way we get the majority of the money back, but then you're still paying for 2 tickets. You are still paying to get paid, and that doesn't make sense. Now, if that show is like a huge arena, you've got, let's say, minimum 3,000 to 5,000 people. Okay, that's 3,000 to 5,000 people. What is the cost of those 75 tickets? Are those tickets $10? Are those tickets $25? What is the metric there? Right. And you have to do the math. Now, maybe he sells the 73. He's 2 tickets shy. Fuck, I throw $50, but we're going to be in front of 3,000 to 5,000 eyes.
Right.
A lot of people think this. What the problem then becomes is a lot of people don't read that fine print at the bottom or ask enough questions about the event or what's going on with the venue, and it might turn out that A Day to Remember is performing at 9 p.m. You'll be on stage at 2.
Nobody's going to be there.
No one's going to be there except for 50 people. You really have to dive into it. There are some buy-ons and there are some pay-to-plays where I have absolutely taken the hit and said, fuck it, because I knew I was going to be right before them.
Right.
And when I got that opportunity, you bet your ass I jumped on it, because that put me in front of 3,000 people that had never fucking heard me before. That is huge, because even if your percentage rate at that point is, let's say 20% of the people actually liked you out of that 3,000 people.
No, that's still a
great number.
People to have. Yeah,
right.
No, that's massive.
So it's a good thing at that point to be like, okay, cool. I've got 600 people that are interested in me. Maybe 300 buy something. If they're buying even the CD at $10, 300 times 10, you're already back to $3,000. You're making your money back. You have to think about the analytics of it all, and if you're actually financially going to make it work. Now, if you hadn't sold 73 tickets.
Let's say you only sold them to your mom and dad, and
then you own you sold 2 and you own the other 73. Now you got to pay for those tickets.
And that's $1,400 out of pocket at $20 tickets.
Exactly.
It's a lot of fucking money.
You really have to think about, are you ready to take on that step? I'm not saying that it's good to take pay to play. I want you to understand that. But there are benefits to doing it if you do the research on it. If you're going to take it, though, you must understand the risk that comes with it, because it is a lot of money that will screw you so fast it's not even funny.
There's been offers that I've had in the past, even in like the beginning of Cold Hearts, when we first broke out into whatever the scene it was we were playing at the time that was popping, that wanted us. And the promoter's like, yeah, man, I got this good show coming up, X band, and like really good bands that have a good pull in our area. But he's like, you got to sell 75 tickets at $15 a piece. And so like I sit there and I think about it, I'm like 75 times 15, quick math.
1,050.
Yeah, that's $1,050, right? So I'm sitting there thinking like I could sell 75 tickets, and then I like started hitting up my friends. And they're like, oh, I got to work this day. Oh, I got this day. And I'm not really trying to buy a $15 ticket for that show. That's not really my thing. So when it came down to it, really I could sell like 7 tickets out of the 75. So I said no. And being able to say no is a very powerful tool too, because the promoter at that point is like, yeah, I've got this big show coming through. I need to get these tickets sold. I've got to get this done. He's going to jump on any band that says, yeah, man, I can sell 75 tickets.
Yeah.
But like Blaine said, weigh out the options, because that 75 turns into 1,050 real quick.
So for a promoter side, like if you have a big band like that and you were to try and approach people, do you try and sell them based on audience size as well?
State that question again.
So basically, let's say, a large band is coming through and they approach, and they approach you as a promoter and say like, hey, if you can get some locals on here, we'd like to do this. For the promoter side, now I know you don't do pay to play shows.
No.
But I know
doesn't mean I haven't done them.
Yeah. But I also know that you are much more familiar with that ecosystem. And when a large band approaches, do you sell them on, okay, look, we'll probably have a crowd of 300 people because I'm going to have 4 bands that are going to sell 75 or that are going to sell 50 tickets.
I don't put anybody else under the bus to sell the tickets.
Okay.
So
how common is that though?
In that instance, let's go with the one that I turn to a lot, Powerman 5000. Yeah. When I booked them, they said, okay, we'll give you 3 opener slots. We've got 2 bands on this tour, Powerman 5000 and Knee High Fox. So we've got 2 of them covered. We'll let you have 3 openers max up on this show. I said, okay. And they said, what is your venue capacity? And I believe the venue capacity was just shy of 300. So I think I told them
280, yeah.
Yeah, so I told them 300. And they said, okay, well, you'll need the bands to do this. I never said, okay, I'll make the bands do this. That's a suggested number of what they do. How I run my business is how I run my business. Okay. It doesn't matter to them at the end of the day, as long as I'm putting the guarantee that they will get paid this much money regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
So with Powerman, theirs was we needed a $3,000 guarantee for the 2 bands, and I negotiated it back to $2,300 in meals, and we ended up getting them I just gave them cash for a buyout on the food, and they went and got Olive Garden, which became a funny joke at the show. Man, you guys are really proud of your fucking Olive Garden. But it was funny regardless. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I got them back to that number. That is my responsibility. So from that point there, they don't really ask me. There's never been a national touring act that has forced me to say, I will guarantee you that these bands will sell this X amount of tickets.
But I can imagine a band, the size of Powerman. Not saying them in particular, but I'm sure that there's going to be, there are bands that have had success. With success does come ego.
Right.
And if you were to put them on a stage in front of 3 people and a dog, I imagine they'd probably walk.
Oh, I'd imagine they would.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, too, where those agencies and those managers for those bands will usually keep in contact with me. Hey, how are ticket sales going? Hey, how are ticket sales going? Hey, how are ticket sales going? And so when I did that show, I believe I did do tickets. But no, I did do tickets. But I mean, towards the bands, I gave them a stack of tickets and I said, look, I'm not going to hold you to a number. My hope is that you will be able to sell 15 each. And I believe that show was a $20 ticket, $25 at the door, or $15 ticket, $20 at the doors.
20, I believe.
Yeah, okay, 15, 20. And I told them, it's like, I am not going to hold it against you if you don't sell tickets. I'm not going to hold you to a quota. I don't want money for the tickets. Here's just a stack of tickets.
Yeah.
Do what you can. And what it's going to equate to, and this is what I told the bands, you are already going to make a set amount of money. This is the number. And I believe it was like $100 for the locals, because you're locals. You don't have to travel. You're not doing anything crazy. $100 is more than fair. And I told them that it's like, but you come to me and, I'm saying, I'm hoping you can sell 15. You come to me and show me that you sold 30, 40. You bet your ass I'm going to fucking kick that number up way higher, because you busted your ass and you deserve compensation for that work. And so that became like a motivational tool for them to a degree, because they knew I was going to pay the set amount, and they knew that they could make more if they got past what my minimum expectation or hope was for them. No money was needed from them. No guarantee was needed from them.
I know of a few instances, and this is not you as a promoter. I want to make that very clear. This is not you as a promoter, but I know of a few instances where artists were approached like that, given a ticket quota to hit. I think it was 20 tickets in this case. This is a show back in Portland. I don't even think that promoter is in business anymore, but this artist sold, I think they sold 70 tickets. Like, they went all out. They were like, they were going to drop an album here, and they were going to make it a big deal. And they couldn't even get an extra 5 minutes on stage.
So time slots are time slots. Time slots don't change.
Different.
That's a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a whole different fucking thing right there.
Because that's not that's not tied just to the promoter. That's then tied to the national,
the venue,
and the venue and everything else. Because how they'll do it, like one that I love, Hemlock. Yeah. I absolutely adore Hemlock. One of the things
You're wearing their hat.
I'm wearing their hat. And it's one of those things. Every time Chad shows up, he makes a set list right then and there, hangs it on the stage, hangs it on the door, hangs it on the fence. He'll hang them everywhere that the bands are going to be walking through. So no matter where they're going, they're like, this is your time slot. This is your time slot. This is your time slot.
Fair.
And his whole method on that is to get bands to understand it's not that he's trying to be a dick, but if you want to be taken professional in any way, shape, or form, you best meet your time slot. Now, if you're expected to have a bigger time slot, that would be discussed, and then we would know that. But if you're going to come on my stage and I say you have a 25-minute time slot.
So he asked for this 3 days in advance of the show.
Okay, 3 days advance of the show is still, I don't know the logistics of the whole show, how many bands were on it, how long that the headliner was guaranteed, did they have a backup band? I don't know the analytics of everything about it.
That's fair.
But in theory, how it should work is if I book a band and I say, okay, we're going to give you a 25-minute time slot for you on this show with this national. And then they go, hey, can we get a 30-minute? We know our set well enough to know that it's going to go exactly 28 minutes and 57 seconds, but we like to throw a little banter in between songs, so give us like a little minute of flub room, but we will be off that stage within 30 minutes, guaranteed.
Sure.
If they ask me that up front, then I can consider that. 3 days before,
Yeah.
Day of, And that's not meant to be rude, but there's a whole layout already planned around it.
Yeah.
And for some of those nationals, they won't allow for 15-minute turnover times. They'll give you 10. So it's like, shit, they really want you going, because the nationals don't fuck around. They're nationals because they know their shit. They're on point and they're on time every time. But like I was saying with Hemlock, it's like they do that and they make sure that everyone understands it, because it's not that they're trying to be dicks. They're trying to make you responsible as a musician. And I love that about them. It's frustrating sometimes because, like, when you get a brand new kid, it's like hard to explain that to them. But at the same time, I want them off my stage at the set time too.
Fair.
I don't want them wasting time. I want them to get to their point, play their set. You have 25, 30 minutes. Make that your best 25, 30 minutes. If you can't take and practice and time yourself and do all that shit, that's your own damn fault, not mine.
Right.
It really is.
That's what I was going to say. So, like, for instance, when you have us play, you're like, I got a 30-minute slot for you. At that point, in my mind, I build a 23-minute set list, because I know that we're going to have banter in between. I know I'm going to say what's up. I know I'm going to shout out the other bands. I know there's going to be, like, a tuning spot or, like, a guitar switch, because we do that now. So I plan my set list to be 5 to 7 minutes shorter than the slot we're allowed.
Yeah. And for some bands, that's what they need. For other bands that don't have those instrument changeovers and tune-ups and everything like that, it's not a big deal. So, I mean, it sucks, but the whole point is it's like you're getting on a bill. It's a professional high-end bill. You're going to have different limitations you have to follow with that because it's not just the house show. You know, it's professiontional.
Yeah, no, and that's I totally get that.
One thing I forgot to say real quick though about with the Power Man show when I gave the people tickets. One rule that did sit in my book is I hope that you can sell 15. If you don't sell them, that's fine. How many tickets do you guys want realistically in your hand to take with you? We'll take 25. I give them 25 and I tell them, you will return whatever is not sold. If you do not give me back the tickets you did not sell, I have to count them as a sold ticket. So like if you lose it out of your pocket, you will pay for that.
Right.
Because I can't keep my books in order. And Nationals, their tour managers, look at that shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I will not get in trouble over that crap because you couldn't keep it with the rest of your tickets. You have to take responsibility for it. Now, I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure that was out there.
That's fair. The one thing I wanted to say on the example I was giving, get that most of those logistics didn't quite apply to this show. There was no large national. There was no set structure ahead of time. It was kind of a thrown together show. Like I said, the promoter's no longer in business. But no, it was just me trying to highlight, like, I like that you're trying to go the extra mile for bands that are going the extra mile on this.
Right.
Because I do think that there's a part of the pay-to-play ecosystem that is really market-driven. There is a value to being in front of that audience. Yeah. There is a value to being on that stage on that day. There is a value to getting your name out there like that. And there is a value to giving your promoter the opportunity to get you in front of more people and focus on promoting you instead of selling tickets.
Right. So there's two aspects to look at when you're looking at the pay-to-play model and how it can benefit you and how it cannot benefit you. What he's discussing is more of the like, you know, hey, you get to play in front of a day to remember.
Yeah.
Cool. That gives you an opportunity to be in front of a crowd that is a crowd that you already know is going to be there. You know, we've already discussed that part of it.
Yes.
The major problem with most pay-to-play is, hey, we're going to have, throw me a label.
Media scare.
Are they good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm not good with labels, people. Please forgive me. So let's say we're going to have Jason Tompkinson from Media Scare coming down to the event, and he's going to be looking at your guys' performances to find the next big band. That's a lot of them. Most of the pay-to-plays are not to get with a national. They're to fucking have some has-been who hasn't done shit in the scene for fucking 10, 15 years, and he's going to look like he's a professional. He's going to have like the rings and fucking like that rock star look. Yeah. No, not a suit, but like that rock star, like, yeah, I'm a badass fucking, I'm a rock star, man.
I filled in on bass for fucking
Leonard Skinner.
Yeah, who fucking knows?
For Hatebreed, for two shows.
And they'll be like, it's going to be a battle of the bands, and if you win, you get to go to the next round, and you could win up to $15,000, and all that shit's fake. Let me be clear to you right fucking now. All that shit's fake. If you are somebody who's actually won it, tell me the nightmare you went through, because I guarantee you it was not cake and rainbows. It's bullshit. All right.
But yeah, if you did that and you don't have an NDA that you signed, please come talk to us. I'd love to talk to them.
It's one of those things, man. I mean,
I got to keep my mouth shut on that one.
So I've done two of them.
Yeah.
And I did two of these Battle of the Bands. I did a Bodog Battle for the Bands.
Oh, really?
And I did, what was the other one? It was here in town. It was at the Pasco warehouse. I can't remember the name of it. But this guy came out and he legitimately like was looking at the bands and reviewing them and doing this stuff. And I was sitting there and I'm like looking at this dude and I'm like, he's just giving basic bullshit pointers at the end of it. He's like, no, you guys are really good, but you know, I think your second singer needs to move around a little bit more, but I like your guys' sound. You know, I think if you guys got a little bit more not afraid of using blast beats, that'd be pretty cool. But overall, you guys did a good sound. That was it. Like, you just paid, or you just sold 50 tickets to have that guy come tell you that paid at the end of your... Again, sold is the word that I'm going to use because it's one of those things that you either bought them yourself or you sold them.
No. Here's the thing. If you sell them, that is time out of your day, and time is money still.
Oh, I agree.
And I think that's a really big thing to keep in mind as well. That it's not just about, you know, the fact that you're selling like you're taking time out of your day to do this. There's logistics involved in this. This is not just like, oh, yep, did that. That's what I'm going to do with the rest of my Saturday. Like, no, you're going to be doing this for as long as you have those tickets in your hand.
Yep. You're going to be doing it for quite a while, and it is frustrating as all hell.
Yes.
But the point of the matter is that that's all those guys got. And then, you know what band they picked? The same band that won it the last 3 times. And you know what happened to that band? They went to the next round. You know what happened then? Nothing.
Lost.
They didn't win.
Yeah.
That was it. They picked the same band because, like, yeah, we know these guys are good. Cool. Then you sell them to the next show, and they got to sell more tickets to that fucking show.
Yeah.
They brought in the biggest crowd, so yeah, they'll sell in a big crowd here too. And we're still not going to give them jack shit. You know who the winner is? The guy who's got a tie-in with somebody somewhere.
Yeah.
It's usually almost guaranteed it's somebody who's tied with somebody somewhere, or they are just so astronomically fucking amazing. There's no way to deny it.
And I have seen this phenomenon so many times, in particularly the Oregon hip hop scene. Bring out a big name to sit in a corner booth somewhere, and that's your pull. And now you're expected to sell 20 tickets, and you get 3 or 4 songs on stage, and then you're off. Oh yeah. And there's 10 more coming after you. And you know what? Maybe during your set, he just walked outside to smoke a blunt.
Yep.
He's not even seeing you.
Yeah, no, that's very common, sadly, that is a very common thing. But that's the same thing I'm talking about with like that battle of the bands that I went to. It's like some guy.
It's the same phenomenon.
And you know what I did while we were sitting there and I was listening to him after he talked to the 4th band? I was sitting there, I was like, what's this dude's name? And I fucking found him. He hadn't done jack shit in 6 years. 6 years he hadn't done jack shit.
Dude.
He actually had a reputation online for being known as like the lazy asshole of that fucking record label. And it's just like, why are we here?
Yeah.
What is the point of this? And it's just it's really depressing to see that. Now
that's also part of that homework, I think, if you're looking at selling tickets.
If you know who it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now they don't say who it is until you get there most of the time. So it's like we'll have, scouters from, what was the name of the place?
Nuclear Blast.
Yeah,
well, I'm just saying different labels now.
Media Scare is the one you said.
Scare.
So like we'll have some scout from Nuclear Blast who's going to be reviewing to try to find the next big band. They don't say a name. You don't know who the fuck you're talking to. And for all you know, yeah, maybe they're tied to Nuclear Blast, but they stepped down and they haven't done shit in years.
Right. Or
so
maybe it's their second day there and they're not going to have any of that.
Right.
All those mega record labels, like even for instance, We Are Triumphant, Orchard is the one who puts out their music and does all their printing and shit. So who knows if he's actually part of Nuclear Blast or if he's part of, for instance, Sharptone, who's owned by Nuclear Blast, or this one who's owned by Sharptone. He might be tied to Nuclear Blast,
but you have no idea how.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And most times you have no idea who the person is until you get there. And then it's like, well, I have no way to research this.
This is the fucking bassist from Trapped. What the fuck?
But what they're shit. But it's going to be one of those things too, where it's like they're going to have like trailers or like some website that you can go to that's like, and here was last year's winner, and here was the winner before that. So it's going to look legit. It's going to look hyped. I'm telling you right now, guys, it's bullshit. Don't do it.
Yeah.
The only pay to play that I have ever seen that was actually worth investing my time into was the ones where I got to open for the Nationals that I have been a fan of my entire life. And I told myself straight up, I don't give a fuck if I get paid. I get to be on stage with somebody who I've worshipped for fucking ever, and that's what I looked at. It was worth it to me at that point on a personal level. If it's not worth it to you on a personal level, you will do so much better. Just keep performing the same circuits, man. Stay underground. Keep doing your thing.
And
you'll make it
The
better.
biggest example that I could use was back in the day with my first band, like early 2011, 2012. Summer Slaughter was still a thing. And before that died and before that got outed for what it really was, it was The Road to Summer Slaughter. And it was exactly what you said. Oh, this guy from Sumerian Records is going to come out and we're going to be doing a Battle of the Bands type deal. Well, it turns out it's actually pay to play. You got to pay $1,500 just to get your tickets. Then you got to pay for your fucking tickets, your name, how big do you want it on the flyer, how much money you're going to spend. And it was just a whole shit like that. And I know of a couple bands who actually benefited from that and became like their best selves because they got day after day onto it. And they got the tour ability from it to put themselves in different cities where they wouldn't normally be.
Right.
But at the end of the day, they're out $10,000-$15,000 just off that alone.
Yep.
And so it's like, are you willing to pay that for like the Battle of the Bands-esque type of deal for a small 25-minute opener slot for the rest of the tour and then you're in debt for the next 10 years? Or would you rather just play your own circuit until you build up enough of a repertoire and people know who you are states away without that?
There's another part to this too, and I think that's important to touch on. And it's the ecosystem itself. Pay to play, if you're buying your way into shows, which, like we said, sometimes that might sound like your best option. Buying into pay to play shows is a surefire way to make sure that pay to play remains a thing.
It is.
Yeah.
And that is something, yes, it does allow larger bands to tour, and I'm not hating on that at all. It allows larger bands to hit up smaller venues. I think that's great.
Right.
I wish there was a better alternative, and I think as long as we allow pay-to-play to be as massive a thing as it is, that system's there. We figured that one out.
And now, here's the thing. This is the next part of it that I kind of want to dive into a little bit, is that pay-to-play exists for a reason.
Yeah.
And sad part is that so many people took it and abused it and turned it into a different thing. Like I said, I understand how pay-to-play came to be a thing.
Yeah, no.
I get it. Nobody wants to see your venues all shut down. Nobody wants to see nobody make any money. What was it? It was in Spokane that the Aborted was supposed to come through, and they didn't get enough ticket sales, so they said, fuck this, we're moving forward.
Yep.
Nobody can get us a solid number, and I think it was just under 20 tickets was all they could confirm, and they're like, no, we're going forward now. And the Aborted is a big enough name that they can be like, go fuck yourself. There's no way.
Yeah.
We're not doing it to play to a fucking 3 people and their cat.
Was that the gnarly green tour flyer?
I have no idea.
Because I'm pretty sure we were supposed to be on that one.
I have no idea.
But then so many bands kept dropping. Within Destruction couldn't get visas, this and that whole tour was pretty fucking south from what I remember.
I remember
Either
the poster.
way, I just remember that the big contemplation of the whole thing was they said fuck it once the tickets weren't being sold. Because that national needs to know they're flying from overseas.
Yeah.
They need to know that they've got a set amount of money in their pocket to pay for the expenses for them to do their thing. Music, when you're not doing the big major ampha arenas where somebody's paying for all the expenses, and you're a band and you're doing those smaller spots, you need to know your expenses are fucking covered.
100%.
They will not take the loss. It will be the venue that will take the loss. And that's the thing too, is it's like ticket sales are important. They do hold a truth into the scene that we have to have for analytics. I'm in a small spot. I am not some big arena. I can't even hold 1,000 people. Okay. No. So for me, I'm small time. Okay. If I take a loss for a night, okay, it sucks, but I'm small enough that it's not going to kill me.
But if an amphitheater,
it's not a stadium.
Like a stadium takes a hit like that. Oh, fuck.
Right. And that's where ticket sales became important. We need this to know that our numbers are going to match. We cannot have flops with these big names that are requiring this much money to perform, and we have to pay for their travel overseas, their importing of their equipment, all of that stuff. It's expensive.
It becomes unsustainable very quickly.
It does. And then those bands will see that like, oh shit, these guys couldn't pull their shit together, and they're going to black mark you.
Yeah.
For the venue and the promoter, there are a lot of worries that we take on. The only bullshit problem that comes from pay to play is that they took it off of their plate completely and said, fine, fuck the bands. No, it is an equal responsibility between everyone. And I cannot state this enough. Too many bands think it is not their job to promote the show. Too many promoters think it is not their job to promote the show. Your fucking name is promoter. Figure that shit out. And then
you call yourself
venue,
a promoter.
There are too many venues that think it's not their job to promote the show. It is everybody's job to promote the fucking show. Hang on, I'm pissed. I need people to understand this. Tickets, no tickets, door, split, I don't give a fuck. It is everyone's job. When a show comes onto my boat, I'm asking people to help me make flyers. I'm advertising that shit everywhere. I'm going around to different places in town and I'm hanging those fucking flyers. I am constantly talking about it. And I don't give a shit if you're tired of hearing me talk about it. I'm pumped about it, so I'm going to keep fucking talking to you about it. The fact of the matter is, we all have work to do. Nobody succeeds by expecting somebody else to do the job harder than them. If you are a performer, a promoter, or a venue, if you are not working harder than the person that you're expecting to work harder than you, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
There's another part to that too, and that is part of the local scene. If you're part of your local scene and you're invested in it, you want it to grow, you are in a band, or you want to see more shows, go to fucking shows. Buy the fucking tickets.
Yeah.
And buy them from your local bands if they're doing it that way. If that helps make a bigger mark for a bigger band to come through, so you can have bigger shows, so you're going to inspire more people, so you're going to have more non-endemic scene people come through and listen to this music that your local friends are making. buy the fucking ticket and show up.
Yeah.
Outside of Blaine in the last 2 years, there's only been one show that we played that I would say was promoted to the level that you promote. And that's when we rolled into a town 50 miles away from where we were playing. Yeah. And they're like, oh, you guys are playing at Willie's, right? I'm like, okay. And they're like, yeah, we got your flyer over there. And this is a town 50 miles away. Yeah. Like, they did a good job promoting it.
Yeah. But the same thing, I have been to venues where I knew I was photographing a show 2 days later. I was like, oh, they've got a little event come in this night. I should go there and kind of see what the light situation's like. And I can't find a fucking poster for the show that's coming up in 2 days. Mm-hmm. I'm like, fuck this is going to suck.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I showed up, and guess what? There was 13 people there.
Yeah. Now,
for 4 bands.
Now, sometimes, too, just the way things work out, people will buy tickets and then they don't show up. Again, if you're going to buy the ticket, please show up. Yeah. It's one thing to say, okay, cool, we got the money to cover it, but we'd rather have you there.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's one of those things, too, where people just need to realize that it's like it's everybody's job. And please don't. It sucks. Okay, back to pay to play, though. I want to get back to that.
No, and I think it ties into it, right?
It does.
Where it is an ecosystem that is fallible at best.
Yeah,
it's not ideal.
The pandemic has truly shown us how thin of a line our system works for the music scene. We have to do better together. We cannot separate. One falls, we all fall. And the point of the tickets originally was to make sure that the venues don't lose out so bad that they start losing money and they have to close their doors. And the promoters don't lose out so bad that they get so frustrated and throw in the hat and quit. You don't have these people. No. They don't work. You can have all the bands in the world, but you still need a PA. You still need a sound guy. You still need a venue. You still need a place to play.
And the thing there, too, is like we all fall if one falls.
Yeah.
It's a domino.
It is.
And let me gather my thoughts for this one.
Nope, you're fine.
No, when I see people, I see so many people just shoving the responsibility off of them. It's like, oh, God, the scene's being killed by bad promoters. Like, yeah. And bad local bands, and bad big acts, and bad record labels, and bad people who buy tickets and don't show up, and bad people who don't buy merch from their local bands. And people who will buy $300 tickets to go see a large band but won't spend $5 to go see a local band. And you can keep going with that list. It's all of us.
It's all of us.
If you love music and that's something you're about, show up.
Yeah.
Do the thing. And I'm going to tell this goes from the ground up and the bottom down. It goes both ways on that. If you see a large band putting in the effort, you're going to want to support them more. If you're a local band and you go play at a shitty dive bar at 3 p.m. on a Thursday, and there's 25 people there, and like 4 of them will mosh to you, fuck, dude. That's dope. Mm-hmm. That matters. It's every little bit of effort matters at every level. And, yeah, like I said, pay to play, it sucks. No two ways about that.
So I kind of want to break down a few things about the different forms of pay to play, okay? Because we've talked about it, but I don't think people truly understand what the full concept of pay to play is. Tickets does not mean pay to play. Tickets means you have tickets and that you're responsible for those tickets, and it's a metric for us to keep track of how many people are coming to the event based off of your efforts put forth. So for a promoter like me who actually genuinely wants to support you in a way that gets you money, okay, if I'm already paying you $100 and you show me that you can pay more than or sell more than 15 tickets, I'm going to throw you more. That means I value your time. That means I value your efforts, and I value you as what you're doing for your street work and crewing and just trying to get the word out there.
I think the tie in there too with large nationals is their paper pushers get to see that your scene puts in the work.
Yes, and that's another aspect too is that when we can show them good ticket sales numbers, that shows that label or manager or
whoever gets that email.
Yeah, that my community is pushing tickets. We will do what we need to do. Now, I want to make clear, I haven't asked any bands to sell tickets in God knows how long. Since Ginger.
I've known you for 5 years now, and I don't think you've ever asked Cold Hearts once to sell tickets.
I've never asked you because you were from out of town.
Oh, okay.
The only time I've ever asked for anyone to sell tickets was my locals. Yeah. There's no point to giving tickets to somebody who lives an hour and a half away.
That was something that always tripped me out, too, back in my first band's early days, is we'd get hit up for shows like, for instance, the Undying Arms show at Grace Golden Lion or Oceano, and they'd put us on it, and they'd be like, yeah, you got to sell 25 tickets. Like, fuck, how am I going to sell 25 tickets? I live an hour and a half away from you.
Right.
So what we'd do is we'd load up and we'd come and hit all the skate parks. And we'd sell 25 tickets.
But that effort that you put in is enough. I mean, when bands used to ask, or when I got used to ask to play perform shows for tickets, I'd just go to the mall. I'd go to the skate parks. I'd go to the different places that I knew where people like me hang out.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's exactly
not fucking
what we
hard.
did.
I even knew what entrance to go to at the mall because they're not going to use these ones. They're going to use this one.
You mean just the one closest to Hot Topic?
Closest to Hot Topic in the arcade, you bet your ass.
Right.
And it's one of those things. Think about your demographic. It's not that hard.
And that was hard for us, too, because not all of us were driving at the time. We were all still young kids.
I understand. It's hard. It's not an easy thing, but put the effort and it will come back. Now, real quick, let's break down these different forms of it. So tickets are not pay to play. Tickets that you have to pay for in advance, that is pay to play. Okay. Tickets that you sell and you don't get a profit until you hit the margin is pay to play. So like I was explaining before, he has to sell 75 tickets. He only sells 73. He gets no cut because he did not hit 75. That is pay to play. Okay. Another form of pay to play is we'll give you buy these tickets. We give you the tickets. You make $3 a ticket if you're selling them for $10 a pop, but you have to pay us the $7 a ticket. So we're going to give you 20 tickets. They're $7 a piece. You would pay for that, which is $140.
$140 loss until you sell them.
Until you sell them. Now, you would sell them for $10 so that way you can make your $3. Or if you're feeling cocky enough, go ahead and fucking ask for 15 and try to make 8 off of it. But
and
odds
hope
are
the other band's not selling them for 10.
Right. It's stupid. And you're going to cause waves between your fans. But you sell them for 10. You get your $3 each. So now you get $60 while the people are making 140.
Yep.
You're getting screwed. Okay. That's also another form of pay to play. The one form of pay to play that a lot of people don't like to talk about is venue rental. So venue renting is a thing that is real, okay? A lot of establishments will rent out their hall for weddings or banquets or things of that nature for like $1,500. And they can do that because those places have the ability to do that.
That's fair.
So then people are like, oh, well, we're going to put on a show. Fuck these venues with shitty promoters and all this stuff. We're going to do this. Okay, cool. It's $1,500. Well, that's the same price as a wedding. Yeah. Are we going to have the catering? Are we going to have the staff? Are we going to have the security? Nope. That's pay to play, folks. I don't give a fuck what you think on that. That is a pay to play. But now, go ahead.
I'll argue that one because that is the market. If they could be putting on a wedding instead of a show, then a wedding is the market value of that venue.
And that's the one thing it is. But they're not going to book you on a day that they have a wedding. No. They're going to book it in an open slots where they have it available to them. The thing is that if it's $1,500 and they're willing to cater and staff for all of it as well for that price, and you're having to pay $1,500 and they ain't doing jack shit for you, that's where it becomes a form of pay to play. Now, this is a fine line because I'm going to try to balance this for you all. You don't own a venue. You need a place to rent. Obviously, you're going to have to pay money to rent the place. It's not pay to play to rent a place. It's pay to play when they're
basic economics.
Right. It's pay to play when they're not providing you the same services that they provide for everyone else in that atmosphere of the rental. That's where it becomes a pay to play. And the reason is because you're going to be out your ass unless you absolutely know for a fact that you've got enough people that are going to show up to do it. Does it sound quite like pay to play? No. It is. Yes. Trust me on this. It's any form that costs you to put money into it to get your art up there on stage. Okay. Now, if you're renting a venue hall, I'm sure there's cheaper places. You just got to look around. Or you can even probably talk to your local bars or places that play music and say, hey, if we give you $400, can we have the space from this time to this time to have live music?
And your regular audience can still come in. It's fine.
Yeah. And your regulars, if they're a regular of yours, just tell them it's like, come on in. They don't have to pay the door fee if they're a regular. Now, granted, there's a lot of people that'll try to fuck that, but that's no different than people trying to get
set
guest
those boundaries ahead of time.
So just be aware. Now that I've broken down the different facets of pay to play, I want people to understand that I actually seek out pay to play shows. The reason for this, well, I used to. I don't do it anymore. I knew I had a big crowd. I knew I had a crowd that came out and saw us. We were not a band that performed every other weekend, every other month. We performed here in town maybe 3-4 times a year at most. at most. And the reason for that is because we were spending time trying to build our outer markets. So when we would get pay-to-play offers here, it wasn't too big of a deal to us because we hadn't burned out our community. And most of the shows we did were like $5 or free, so it didn't really matter. Yeah. So when pay-to-play would come along, what I would do is I would barter with the pay-to-play system. So if they came to me and said, okay, well, you got to buy these 20 tickets at $7 a pop, and then you can sell them for 10, we'll go ahead and set you up on this show. And I would respond back with, no, I have a better crowd base than that. If you guys want me to stay on this bill, what I'll do is I'll give you $5 a ticket, and then I'm keeping $5 from the ticket from my sale. Now it's become a 50-50 split. You would be surprised at how many people would be like, you really think you've got a crowd big enough? Oh, yeah. And they're just like, all right, 50-50 split. So they would give me that for the 50-50 split because they didn't think we could sell 20 tickets. My average sales for most shows whenever I had to do tickets,
like a Hondo.
My highest was 127, and that was pretty much purely just me.
Yeah.
I think the guys sold 15 between them. So I'd sold over 100 tickets myself because I know how to put the work in and knew how to look for the demographic. But I think my lowest, 60-something.
Damn.
You know, so I knew how to sling tickets. I knew how to be that guy, but I knew that I had that skill. So I used it to my advantage. Fine. You guys want to do that? Fine. Work with me. And instead of 20 tickets, I'll pay for 30 because I knew done.
Yeah.
I've got it. And then I get to keep that extra money. And then it's a true 50-50 split. It wasn't a negative to waste my time and energy on. Telling me I'm doing it for $3, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of get back into different forms of pay-to-play because you've described a few. There's others that I have seen that have absolutely wilded me out. I think none of them here in town, but I've definitely seen some around that have absolutely blown my mind. I have seen ones where there was a large act being flown in, and if you were on the bill, you were expected to contribute to their tab. Bar tab.
Then that's you as a band not being smart enough to say no. And
I've seen ones where it was a straight cash buy-in, not ticket related. Like, no, if you want to be on this bill,
you will pay.
You will pay, and depending on how much you pay, the closer to the headliner you get.
And that is very prevalent in the rap community, kind of like what we touched on a little bit.
Yes.
Trevor is like the guru in knowing all of that in that scene. But in the metal scene, it's not uncommon, but it's not as common is the best way to put that.
It's definitely something that I've seen far more prevalently in the rap community.
And it's usually not as high of a cost either in the metal community.
No, the metal scene, you can get, like, if you wanted to play 5 minutes before a headliner, you'd only pay like $500. Whereas, like, if it was a rap show and there's 17 different headliners that you want to be near, you're paying close to $5,000 at least.
Yeah, and I've seen some numbers there too where I'm like, holy crap, there was maybe 100 people in this venue and you paid how much? Like, at that point, I understand.
That's a straight buy-on.
Yeah, no, it's
that's
a
the
straight
term for that one.
Right. I personally, when I first realized it, I was like, that just feels like a ripoff. And I think as an artist, like, there's got to be a line, like a financial line, where it's like, okay, I ain't crossing this one.
No, and that's the thing. The one thing I usually say occasionally on episodes, and Trevor was talking about a little bit earlier, it's like bands need to know when to say no.
Yeah.
I'm good. Thank you for the offer. I'm going to move on with my day. I've turned down many shows that I wish I could have performed on, but I wasn't going to take that deal.
So I've also, the weirdest one that I've had when it comes to pay to play, and this is purely me as a photographer speaking, I have had a promoter who told me, like, hey, yeah, there's a few acts that need photos taken tonight. I'm like, just a few? Like, yeah, so we kind of threw together a quick photography package. That way you're getting paid. I'm like, I like getting paid. I really like getting paid when I'm a photographer. When I realized the margin he was putting on my services, given what I was paid and what he was being paid for having me take pictures, and he was, screwing over some smaller ones. Now, the reason I was even photographing that venue and asked to be a photographer at that particular show is because a friend of mine was playing. And that's why I wanted to get in with a press pass, because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to have to buy a ticket for this one. Sorry. But Not when I'm shooting the whole thing.
Buy the ticket. Come to the show.
Buy the ticket. Come to the show. His own fucking words.
Admittedly, I would charge him far more for just showing up. So there's that.
It's all good. Just continue.
So, but no, I realized. So basically, what I would charge bands that night or performers that night would probably been like no more than, I don't know, $40 a pop.
Mm-hmm.
He marked me up to about 120, and he was pocketing the 80.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why how certain promoters get that kind of margin in there for themselves, and I understand why it gives some of them a bad name, and why pay to play is frowned upon.
So that right there is, again, on the fault of the bands. Anytime that there's going to be a photographer that's in-house and it's a pay structure, you should be speaking to the photographer and paying the photographer, not paying the promoter. The promoter
Dude, I'm antisocial as fuck. Fuck these people. Why are you talking to me?
Okay, then that's on you.
No, that's your fault.
I'm just giving you shit. No,
But
it's true. It's
but
true.
the fact of the matter is if somebody came... Okay, I'm going to give an example, and I'm sorry, John. Please don't yell at me if this is the case. So my guitarist wanted me to get signs and stickers made through a friend of his who has a sticker and print shop. And I was like, okay, cool. Can they send us something that we can see? Do they have an online website? Can I view their product somehow? Well, what, you don't trust me? No, I'm not saying I don't trust you. I don't trust products that I haven't seen.
Right.
So what's the problem? And he's like, well, he's out in West Richland. You can go drive up there. Does he not have a website? Does he not have Facebook? Can he shoot us a text, picture, anything?
Something
tangible? Can I see something tangible or on a phone that shows me the quality of his art that I can see? Well, I just don't see why it's a big deal, Blaine. It's just $40. Okay, but it's my $40 that I worked for, and I put my time and effort in at work, and I don't throw my money at shit unless I know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to dog your friend. Please don't take it that way. And he got upset with me. Okay, look, I don't care. Small instance, right? Me and John don't have a problem. We're good guys. We get along well. We're great bandmates. I don't have any qualm with him. But that was one of those moments where it's like, as a band, the promoter's coming to you and it's like, yeah, no, we got a photographer in-house, but it's going to cost you $120 to get your photos. Okay, cool. Do you have some of that photographer's art? Can we speak with the photographer? Can we see their portfolio? Can we do anything of that nature? Oh, well, I'm sure he's got a website somewhere. Okay, cool. Hit me back when you've got that. And then I'd like to talk to the photographer to see if there's anything that we can set up photograph-wise or what he needs from us, or if we can do anything to kind of make his life easier. Make it so you're getting in contact with the photographer. Don't just leave it to that and be like, okay, so $120 is your rate. He'd have been like, what? Excuse me?
And this is straight for any service like that is at a venue that you're getting through a third party. Yeah. Anything that you're getting through a third party there, unless there's like, and here's the thing: if this promoter had a deal with me where we worked something out, I would probably been like, I don't know, man. He sets my rate. I'm just here to take pictures, and that's fair. It's not who I am, though.
Right. So, like, for me and you, we have the agreement that it's like, I pay you so much. Yeah. You come out and you just do a slew of the house shows, and then you pick your favorites and we throw them up. Yeah. Not because I'm going to sit there and pick my favorites. I'm going to trust the photographer who's doing it for me at a discounted rate to fucking pick what he feels is best and display our shows.
Right.
Now, if that band wants to come up to him and speak with him, that's out of my hands. I don't give two shits about fuck what he does with the photos past that point.
Actually, no, that's not true. We've been over this on the podcast before. You will literally sell my photos for me.
True. But if they came to you and discussed it, you would discuss a price with them, and that's none of my business, because that's between the photographer and the artist. Yeah. If there are third channels in between things, ask questions.
Yes.
Get info. Always talk to that party.
And that even goes for your fucking bar tab, because I've seen people being ripped on that.
Yeah, that's true too. But most bar tabs are pretty straightforward.
No comment.
We know your story.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is I want people to understand that pay to play came from something that is truly a necessity. Ticket sales are not the devil. Ticket sales is the devil when someone expects you to put your money on it first. That means they're taking all responsibility and liability off their plate. So as I said in the beginning, pay to play is when you're throwing money at something to get benefit to your performance, artwork, whatever, so that you can display it and get up on stage. What pay to play really should be called is the fact that it's when everybody else takes all liability off their plate and it becomes your problem.
Yes.
That is truly what pay to play is.
When your promoter doesn't have skin in the game anymore, it's pay to play.
Yes.
Yeah,
When
and
you're,
yeah.
well, not just the promoter, the venue, whatever instance you're working with.
Because at that point, they really don't give a fuck what you do.
No.
You make your money back.
They're
or not.
whole.
They, don't
They already got
well,
theirs.
Yeah.
Yep, they're whole.
And the reality of the situation is that it's going to suck. And door splits even have, to some degree, some kind of pay-to-play functionality to it. But really, it's at that point, you're getting petty because a door split is from $1. So you're splitting the door. Now, they'll usually take a little bit of a chunk off the top, like 25, 30%. And the reason for that is to pay your sound guys, to pay for your bar staff, things of that.
Whatever
little bit,
left overhead.
your door person, whatever. That's your overhead. So don't be surprised if, like, they say, yeah, we made $800 tonight, but we took off $100 so we could pay 50 to the sound guy, 25 to the door person. That's not uncommon. Please don't get upset about that.
Yes.
It's actually truly genuinely fair because they wouldn't need a sound guy, the door person, certain staff, because if you weren't there. So they have to pay those people. And then if you have $700 to split between the bands, cool. That's a fair night. That's not a bad deal. Guarantees are not very common anymore. It sucks. That's what I work with is guarantees. I don't like bands having to question or guess what they're going to make. I like them to know exactly what they have to work with. And it's not surprising either that if you do get guarantee deals, the other flip side to that is that they don't have to give you extra. I do it because I think it's right by the bands. I think you guys are the entertainment. You bring in the value. I should be paying you. So that way, if you do great, you come back again and we do this again.
Yeah, and for one of you, for one of the Unibears, there's like there's 80 guys out there who don't give a fuck and put it right into their pocket.
Yep.
So, for instance, for me, when I put out my rider request, and you've seen it, I asked for our guarantee, and then I also, on the guarantee, I put in parentheses, door split if applicable. Because then that puts it in their mind that, like, hey, they've asked for less than what they normally do, if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. Because when it comes to you or any of the promoters that I work with that are very solid, I do that on purpose because I don't know how the show's going to do. I don't know what you've put into overhead. I don't like. I ask for the bare minimum amount, a case of water, and some sort of food, and I leave that just open as fuck. And I do that on purpose because I don't know what you're working with or what you're dealing with that
The
day.
only problem with that is that you're leaving that as an option, if applicable. Okay, what defines applicable?
If you make like $10,000,
That doesn't define applicable.
No, that means you get your $100. Fuck off.
yeah, exactly. But that's my point. Is like
So
I
what
only do
what
that
the
with
nationals
you
will
guys.
do, and this is to give you advice, what the nationals will do is, okay, we have this much of a guarantee, and if the house breaks even by, okay, let's see, the guarantee is $200, okay, and then they're like, how much sometimes they'll ask me, how much are you paying the other bands? It's like, oh, I give them $100 each. Okay, cool. So we get 200, and then you've got 3 other bands, they get 100, that's $500. If we hit over $750, can we get a 25% split of everything over the $750?
Okay.
So that way they know that it's like, you're going to spend $500 anyway. Then there's another $250 right there for you to make sure you're taking care of your sound guy, your crew, your door guy, and even the promoter gets a little bit of cash if they want at that point. And then everything after that, can we split? And that's how I normally see it. That's how you should put it.
Yeah, that's
because
what,
if you
I'll
put
change that.
if applicable, that means it's up to the discretion of whoever's in charge of the money that night.
Yep.
Whereas if you put it down in writing that they're getting a door or they're getting a percentage of the split of anything after 750, it doesn't include that first 750 because that has the guarantees and the overhead. But anything after that, say then now it goes up to $1,500 at the night, they get 25% of that.
Okay.
So that's how they make that extra on top of it. Now that's not like the big mainstream dogs like Aborted. That's more like the bands like Nationals, like Sleep Signals and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I actually like that because it's like, you know what? That's exactly about what I do.
Yeah.
It's a 25% split because there's 4 bands, so they'll get an extra 25% of whatever's over that, and so would the others. I just
And if the show bombs, they still get their guarantee, and everyone's happy.
and everybody's happy. It's just the chance of extra cheddar.
No, that makes
other
sense.
thing that I
I
kind of
like
wanted to circle back to is we talked about, salesmanship. You are a very outgoing social person.
Yes.
I know a fuck ton of people in metal bands who are in metal bands because they have issues talking to people. They'd rather scream at them.
Yes.
If you're not outgoing, if you don't have that salesmanship, figure out someone around your band who might. You know, you probably know a guy who's willing to help you. If not, take that into account when you're asking to play on shows.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, like we're not going to sell much because we don't talk to anybody.
Now, granted, too, I know a few promoters that do this, but not a shit ton. But I actually pay attention to how much you're marketing the show. So I can tell when a person is not a socially open person. They're kind of awkward. They're held back. They have anxiety, whatever. I do watch that. And if I see that you're pushing the shit out of that show every day or every other day, and you're making like your own little fun videos to do that, Rising Enemy is fantastic about that. They make little short clips. They do all sorts of fun stuff. And if you haven't seen like the BPM stuff that we make for the trailers and stuff like that, for our fun little snippets, like have you seen the last episode of BPM? Little shit like that. If you're going out of your way, 3 idiots with a button that says anal seepage. But it's one of those things, not again.
Really?
But it's one of those things that if I see you're putting in the effort in other forms than just ticket sales, I'm still going to boost you because of that too. I like seeing effort put forth. I just don't want to see bands that are like, I posted about it Facebook once. I'm done.
No, you didn't post about it on Facebook. You wrote a fucking rant about how much you hate local shows, and then at the end, by the way, we're playing here soon.
Yeah.
Shit.
Or you're like some other bands, and you're just like, I fucking can't stand pay to play, but come to this show. We got tickets if you fucking need them. It's like, did you pay for those tickets?
Bro.
No. Then
Why the fuck are you even talking about pay to play?
Well, but that's just it. There's a big stigma out there that if anyone hands you tickets, it is now pay to play.
No.
It is not pay to play unless I'm asking for fucking money.
Up front.
And I have literally had bands jump my shit about it and be like, I'm not asking for a guaranteed sold number. I'm not asking for shit. You're still getting a guaranteed pay. And if you really want to break down the analytics of how much I could pay you, and if I was doing pay to play, instead of giving you $100, I could just say, okay, here's $35 based off of a percentage of the ticket sales. So I'm actually benefiting you better than you're benefiting me. 100%. You're just giving me numbers to show me that I can actually have an expectation of what numbers I'm going to have in the building.
And that makes total sense.
But to a lot of people, it doesn't. And this mentality came about where tickets mean pay to play. It's not true. And let me make this clear. If you are the musician and you take a pay to play, you are the one at fault because you took it. Learn to say no. Okay? If you say let's say randomly I fucking get
Atreyu.
Fuck. No. Let's say that. God damn it, I hate you guys.
Nickelback.
I hate you guys so goddamn.
Let's go with Nickelback.
Anyway, let's say that I get Machine Head on their 4-hour-long fucking social tour that they've been doing.
Does that really work? Do you want to put another band in front of that?
No. But let's say that I was to get that and we were putting bands in front of it. If I say, okay, guys, look, I have to have guaranteed ticket sales for this. I want to be upfront with you. This is how it's going to work. That's all I need. Okay. And you guys come to me and you were to say, I agree. I am going to take that responsibility of the 20 tickets that I have to sell. And then you bitch and get pissed off because you took that deal that you agreed to. That's stupid. You need to know the difference between what you can realistically handle and what you cannot. Do not take pay to play unless you know for a fact you can make that work to your benefit, that it's worth your time, and that it's worth you putting the investment in, even if it means you've got to pay the 2 tickets you were shy of your amount. Understand that it's on you at the end of the day. I might be the devil with the, again, I don't do pay to play, but I might, in that hypothetical sense, be the devil with the contract. No. You still have to sign that contract.
Yeah, you put your blood on that.
Yeah, and that's one of those things too. Like, by agreeing to it, you also give it its market value, and you say, yeah, this is what this is worth to me. And so if you're saying that you're being overcharged, like, yeah, okay, that's your problem now. You agree to it.
There's only been one time that I put myself in that position, and it was supposed to be the best show. It was our second show ever as Cold Hearts. We got 50 tickets. Oh, I'm going to sell all these because I know this show's going to sell out. Show sells out, but not because of me.
Right.
Not because of my tickets.
Right.
So I'm sitting here with 20, I think it was 23 tickets that I had to buy.
There's one more thing to this too, and that's something that I kind of wanted to touch on very lightly, but it's something that within the scene itself, There's definitely here locally it's not as much, but in other scenes I've witnessed this so many freaking times. Like, oh yeah, that band, yeah, I mean they play large shows, but it's just because they're paying for it. Drop that fucking stigma.
Yeah.
Like, just drop it. There's no point to it. Yeah, they got to play a big show. They invested in that.
Yep.
Their time, or their money, or their credibility.
Whatever it may be.
Whatever it is. Because you know what? If you've got your buddy who hits you up, say, hey, you know, I got tickets, I got to sell for the show, it's coming up soon, and that's the only messages you get from them, yeah, dude, that's his credibility gone. He put that on the line to play music with a show that he really wanted to be part of. Mm-hmm. Fuck. I get that.
It doesn't matter if he paid for it or whatever. It's his prerogative, and he made that decision his.
And to call that out, especially publicly, because I've seen it, like, no. I get it. We all wish there was a more wholesome, efficient way to get young budding artists on the same bill as their idols. But unfortunately, in the current ecosystem,
there's 1,000 other bands that want it too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There will be people that pay. And as long as there's people that pay for it, it's going to have that value.
As long as there's money, there's always investors.
Yeah.
The other thing I would like to point out, too, is that... actually, I just lost my train of thought for a second. Somebody say something.
I like Doritos Locos Tacos. I don't know. You said say something. You didn't say what.
Yeah, so tell us that story about you eating Taco Bell before band practice again.
Oh, so I had band practice like a month and a half ago. Shout out Cold Hearts.
It's Cold Hearts.
Whatever.
Is that Pendleton hardcore band?
Yeah, that kicks cameras out of people's hands.
Yeah.
So my bassist was like, yeah, man, let's get some food. So I drive through the Taco Bell parking lot. Near the drive-through, I get 2 steak and cheese quesadillas, 3 Doritos Locos Tacos.
You're really going to go through this whole story.
I ate all that shit.
Cold Hearts, full of shit.
Ate all that shit, and then I was fucked up for like 3 days.
So anyway, I'm pretty much not able to figure out how I want to word that, so I'm not going to bother with it.
That's okay. I'm sure it'll come out.
The one thing I would like to say is that another thing that's really important about pay to play, if you're going to pursue certain events with that, don't take too many. Yeah. You need to spread those out. Yep. And like he was saying, his second show is Cold Hearts. They took a pay to play. Don't do it in your early age. Mm-mm. It's not worth it. The number one bands that get preyed on the most with this stuff are the newbies, because you guys don't know any better. And exactly. Yeah. You don't know any better yet. That's why we want to make these kinds of videos and tell you guys these kind of things, give you these inputs and insights, because we're hoping we can help you in your journey.
And it's not that like they preyed on us or anything or figured it would be lucrative. It was my idea because it was the Traders farewell tour. Like that shit was going to pop off. I thought I could sell 50 tickets. I knew 40 people that I knew were going anyways.
And when you're young and naive, you think you can do that, but you don't realize the aspect.
They already bought their tickets.
Yep. Exactly. And that's where the problem comes in. You have to guarantee that your hand is going to be the only one feeding those tickets to those people.
And it turns out they'd bought their tickets 2 weeks before I even was able to buy on the show.
And that's one of those things too. If you're gonna do it, be on that bill day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't wait like I did.
Add on to a bill late,
the tickets are already sold probably. Mm-hmm.
And if they're not sold, they're not sold for a reason. Your band ain't going to make that big of a difference.
Exactly. Final thing I would like to say is that I have learned also as well, when you jump on too many of those, ticket sales burn out your fans. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to be harassed by their friends continuously. Buy this ticket, buy this ticket, buy this ticket. And that's why Papa Bear and Associates went to a no-ticket format. Mm-hmm. I don't do tickets anymore, because I've found that it's easier for the bands to just tell their friends without harassing them. And we had better shows and better turnouts because people didn't feel like they were being harassed the whole time to buy shit. Come have fun. That's all I want. I want music to thrive. And because of it, the bands have been doing better. The fans have been doing better. And, well, I mean, when not in pandemic times. But the perspective of it is better, too. And I have not missed a quota on guarantees for bands in a long time. Like, a long time. And it's because you guys know that I'm going to make sure you're taken care of, and I'm not going to try to fuck you over. No. I want you all to succeed, and I want you all to be happy. But we are running low on time.
Yes.
So,
end of the day, if we're all realistic and enthusiastic, that's what matters.
Yes. All right.
I got nothing else.
Are we ready to hit the red button?
We're hella ready.
We're so ready for this red button.
Oh my God, I'm so ready right now.
Oh my God.
I can't touch my fingers together. I kept like,
My name's Tweva.
fist.
Tweva.
Papa Bath Squad.
I don't know you people.
So, Jan, who you repping?
Who am I repping? Well, I mean, who was I repping? I hate wearing hats, but I wore one today just to match you. I'm repping this horrible pay-to-play promoter.
Oh, shit.
Wouldn't you have been pissed if I spit up all over the board and all over my microphone and just fried everything right now?
I mean, it's your shit.
All right.
But no, I was wearing the Papa Bear and Associate hats. I've got my model right there.
Ooh la la.
He hide behind. It's the first thing you do. I'm so dumb. Anyway, and then my shirt, I am wearing the homies from Portland, zombie-based rock and roll toxic zombie.
Yeah.
The happy little brain eaters. Fucking love those guys.
Punk drunk zombies.
They're wonderful. When I first saw them play here, one of your shows.
The thrash of horror.
Yes, what an amazing show that was. I loved seeing them. It's also when I got to meet the guys from Dead Animal Assembly Plant. Also awesome folks. Ran into Chris Grimm, the lead singer of Stop Fisting Your Wall, bro.
We also got to meet Railgun that night, and that made me very happy. And Bomb Scare. That was a fantastic show. Anyway, continue. I'm sorry.
So, my... Jesus, candles.
Toxic zombie.
So yeah, I ran into Chris Grimm, their lead singer, at a photo event at a haunted house. Where else? In Portland after that, where he's just an awesome dude. I love his enthusiasm.
OX, I see a zombie. I needed to. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Go.
Also, their album's called Going Viral, and that's just fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then they also have Endemic.
And Live Toxic, Die Toxic?
I can't remember.
I'm going to have to Google this. Hold on.
I know they're about to get ready to drop another one
know.
very soon, and I think that's... Or is that one?
Yep, Live Toxic, Die Toxic.
Yeah, okay. So, but yeah,
And Airwaves.
Toxic Zombie, super awesome.
Yes,
Lots of
love
fun,
'em.
lots of high energy. More punk than rock, I would say.
Rock and roll-ish.
But it's more like pop punk.
Yeah.
It's
No,
got that very... Well, maybe not pop punk. It's
rock and roll, man. It's rock and roll.
It's punk. It's
Rock
more
and punk.
It makes me think more along the lines of like NoFX and guys like that. It's more like uppy, cheery kind
So
of
like
punk.
pop rock,
Sure, whatever. I just don't like using
know.
pop in it, so
like upbeat rock.
it doesn't matter. Anyway, Trevor, you're gonna look at
horror-based rock and roll, rock, metal, and punk.
what? That's a cheat. Whatever. That was everything we were saying. Trevor, you're up.
I am wearing the beautiful bunch of dicks.
Beautiful?
The dickiful. He's got a double-sided dick in his hand. Florida Man.
Florida man.
They have some albums that they put out in 2019,
Yes.
Post-violence.
and there's.
Never let anyone know where you come from.
Yes.
But
Try
I
Googling
think
them.
they're like
It's a pain in the
the
ass.
same thing, kind of just like rock and roll. Like they don't, it's not like too hardcore.
Are you thinking of the wrong band, dude?
Am I thinking of the
You
wrong
are
band?
thinking of
Yeah,
the
you are.
wrong band.
You have
dude.
the wrong band.
Florida Man is fucking crazy, over the top, hardcore blast beats, fucking
Yes.
up in your face. In
Oh
your
yeah, they're like
grill,
right next
son.
to Steak Sauce.
No,
Didn't they go on
No.
tour together though?
Maybe.
No.
Yeah.
No. They went with the
That, like,
Festering.
Gentlemen?
I swear there was a fucking tour with Steak Sauce.
I'm
and
sure
Florida
they've played
Man.
shows with them together.
Yes.
I don't know about a tour.
I know that when I saw Florida Man, it was
I'm not too
with
knowledgeable on
Dialect
this
Gentleman. It was one of yours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were on that bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blast beats. That's all I needed was blast beats.
Grindcore blast beats,
Yeah,
fucking, and then
it's-
they've got some just crazy over the top shit. Florida Man's a shit, dude.
Yeah.
like
I
they're
heavy as fuck.
I mean, if you can
It's-
see the T-shirt, you can only imagine.
like they're over the top in a sense of like you listen to it and you're just like, oh my god, my head's gonna explode. This is fucking awesome. It's not like showmanship like Steak Sauce style. It's just
Nutty.
fucking nutty and
Yeah. No,
hilarious.
it's
it's
wild.
great. But they write some very 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 fast, powerful grind,
Yeah.
blast, fucking all sorts of shit.
Yes.
But then they can also like fucking drop it down and just fucking rattle your balls a bit.
And then on my head, as the wonderful Johnny Mango over here said, I'm repping, that wonderful Unibear. It's on this side.
PB&A.
PB&A.
Peanut
my
butter and
homeboys.
ass.
And I'm actually going to keep this because I don't have one.
Fuck you. Fuck you, pay me. How's that?
Okay, I'll send it to you right now, dog.
So what's funny is I almost wore a shirt of the band that you were repping today.
Sunspeaker.
I definitely would have chosen the more offensive shirt though.
Yeah, I was actually looking for that one instead of this one.
I was holding it in my hands.
Yeah, no. You know what? You know where that shirt is?
Yeah.
Okay, go grab it real quick while I talk about Sunspeaker. So Sunspeaker is my homie Randy Abbott. He was in a band called Sunspeaker. So fucking good. What would you call it?
Atmospheric tech deathcore.
Yeah, I mean the dude's insane.
Over the top.
Orchestra instrumentals behind it.
Atmospheric as fuck.
So good. And Randy Abbott is a mastermind behind music. He's a fantastic singer. He just opened up his own studio stuff, and he's doing graphics design for like CG videos and things like that. Yeah, bring it over here. And his most current project, I believe, is
Insane
Zero
as well.
Dawn is the name of his most current project, Zero Dawn, and it's fucking awesome. So Sunspeaker is like hands down the band I was showing off for like 2 years solid. And every time he had sales on merch, I would fucking go through and buy a shit ton of CDs just to give to more people. I've got his banner over there that's signed by the band. I mean, I love Randy Abbott. He's a fucking stallion. If you haven't seen his stuff, please go listen to him. He is phenomenal. He does fantastic vocal
Totally
covers
worth it.
too.
100%.
So Sunspeaker, though, sadly fell apart. And this is the shirt that Jan was talking about that he was thinking of wearing.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason why is, what's his name? Yeah. Is on the back, it says, fuck Maurice Goldberg. And you know what, gentlemen, please allow me to salute with a middle finger. Come on now. Fuck Maurice Goldberg.
Fuck
because
Maurice
Goldberg is a little SoundCloud fucker who has maybe
100 followers,
if that, 40 something, I think is what it was. And he owned the fucking copyright to Sunspeaker, and he writes shitty ass fucking music that was bullshit that he screwed over this band. And when I say that, I don't judge bands. I don't judge artists. This dude's shit, it sounded like a fucking little kid just getting their hands on their first shit. And it was pathetic. And he had the gall to fucking tell them that. And Randy was like, dude, I'll pay you for the name. You don't have a lot of followers yet.
I remember this.
We just got up to like something like 40 or 50,000 followers.
Yes, they were massive.
And they were growing so fucking fast, and he destroyed it. And ever since then, Randy has never been able to get that project back together. They tried moving on to Av Lustra, which is the name of the Sunspeaker album. They just made that the name of the band. It did not go anywhere because they'd already lost all that speed and clout from Sunspeaker.
And it's demoralizing.
It just
lose your heart, man.
destroyed. And he lost his heart in the whole process. He started Abbott Studios so that way he could help other bands move forward. Yep. And then now he's in Zero Dawn. Please go check him out. He's fantastic. But seriously, fuck you, Maurice Goldberg.
Fuck you, Maurice Goldberg.
Fuck you.
Yeah, that dude can kick rocks. Now,
if you know what that's from, you know.
If you know, you know.
But anyway, so that's about it. Like I did say, we are on a little bit of a time constraint today. Jan has some stuff he needs to take care of today. So overall, just remember, pay to play. Just make sure it's going to benefit you if you're actually going to look at it.
Look at the fine print. Look at every little singular detail. Because
if there's third parties, make sure you get in contact with them as well. I mean, all of it.
Yeah, just all of it.
At the end of the day, we hate that it exists. We understand that it exists. And if it exists, you have an opportunity to take advantage of it, but do it responsibly.
Right. And the other thing is, too, is that pay to play will never go away unless we stop doing it. So
and here's the thing. There's always going to be somebody who wants it enough.
Right. And that's the thing is I don't think it's ever going to truly go away. But for the smaller venues, you can make that shit go away.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And I guarantee you, in the long run, it's going to be better.
Yeah.
So, but with that being said, I think that'll call it for episode 14. I am Blaine, a.k.a. Papa Bear. To my left is Jan the photographer.
Like and subscribe.
And to my right is Trevor the musician.
Leave a comment below. You can find us all on Facebook if you need to. Like we said in the last episode, reach out to us. We're always willing to talk and banter. And
I will
do
send
whatever.
you so many memes.
But with that being said, we love you all. Thank you for tuning in to another episode.
And with that, much love to you all, and good night.
Ooh, woo.
Ooh, woo.
Ooh, woo.
Ooh, woo.
Papa Bear and Associates does not take any responsibility for sexual complications while listening to this program. Side effects have been known to include sweating, extended and unexpected erections, perked nipples, butt clenching, inflammation of the testicles, and anal seepage. Furthermore, if you are experiencing any of these symptoms, you should make sure to send us your non-graphic pictures for our viewing pleasure. Thank you and much love.